Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video today. And today I would like to talk about the hockey mentality, so to speak, or how hockey taught me mental toughness. I think that is a better way of expressing the title of our today's topic. And perhaps some of you are not entirely familiar with hockey, and in particular ice hockey. Again, I'm a goaltender, so that's another sphere to kind of discuss. And for some of you who don't know really what hockey is or ice hockey is, basically you are a team of 5 players and a goaltender, and you play on ice in the winter time, autumn or winter mostly, and the goal is to score as many goals as possible against the opponent. And hence, if you have more goals after 60 minutes, there are 3 periods in total. If you have more goals, then you win in the end. Just to give you a brief description of that sport for those of you who are completely new to that sport. But I think most of you are already very familiar with that, considering I have a lot of viewers from particular countries where hockey is pretty dominant. So I'm pretty sure everyone is well versed in that sport, so to speak, or at least have seen a little bit of it. So, and why do I want to talk a little bit about mental toughness and how is it related to hockey and being a goaltender and this sport in general? Well, there are a few reasons. The first one, you have to know as a goaltender, you are kind of alone behind. You're in goal, you're always behind your team, so to speak, because they're either defending or they're attacking, scoring goals, whatever else, trying to defend in the middle zone, and so on and so forth. And you're always kind of left back. You're never, like, you as a goaltender, you never move forward with the team on the playing field. So you are most of the time occupied with yourself. Of course, when they're attacking you, then you have your players surrounding you and you have to communicate, but the other times you are basically by yourself. And when you're by yourself, then there are a lot of things that you have to learn. And I think it's kind of you can kind of equate that to, I think Francis Bacon once said that most of the things that you discover or learn is when you're by yourself in your own room. And this kind of equates to what I'm trying to explain here by saying that as a goaltender, the first thing I would say is the fact that you learn how to focus much better. Because as a goaltender, you are required to look at the puck nonstop 24/7, and not just at the puck, but also at the other players. Because you have to know where the other opponents are standing, because in advance you have to know where to move and how to move, and maybe you have to tell your player to move to the left or to the right, and so on and so forth. And you are basically the last standing man before you and your team let in a goal. Essentially, you let in the goal. But as a team, it's the team who lets in the goal. And this is another part I'm going to talk about and maybe towards the end. And the focus is then a key aspect in that mental toughness. You learn how to focus precisely. You learn how to think faster, or respectively, you don't even think during the game, because a good goaltender or a good athlete doesn't really think throughout the game or throughout the tournament or championship or whatever else it may be. So, because when you start to think, then you actually start to think, and then you slow down your physical process, and that is not really wanted, because the idea is to kind of automate all of the movements that you've practiced throughout the years, the weeks, the days, and to kind of internalize it, so that then when there's a situation where you need to utilize that particular movement, you just do it like that without having to think. And that is the goal of any player, of any goaltender, any competitor. And I think also another aspect here is to consider the fact that you learn how to tolerate stress. Now, as a player, maybe it's a little bit less. And of course, I'm not going to speak for all the players, hockey players, because I'm not a hockey player myself. I'm a goaltender. I can only speak for goaltenders. And for a goaltender, stress is probably one of the highest aspects or things that you experience throughout the games. And of course, when you let in a goal, it's high pressure, it's high stress. When the fans are yelling at you, or when the fans are cheering or saying something, or when there's a power play and it's a 5-on-3 and you need to focus very much and you need to deal with that stress, or when you let in 3 quick goals within 2 minutes, that causes high stress and you're like, oh damn, what happened here? You need to maintain your cool. You need to learn how to be extremely just relaxed, even though there is chaos and catastrophe and a storm coming. You just need to remain calm. And this is one thing that you learn a lot as a goaltender throughout the years of playing hockey in very important games and very important finals. Because I've had games where it was very important and I lost and I let in a stupid goal, or I let in a stupid, I didn't pass the right way or something like that. I was yelled at, all that pressure comes eventually. And the question is, can you withstand that stress and that pressure or not? So that's one thing, or a second thing that you learn as a goaltender, which increases your mental toughness. Then, of course, it's also learning how to lose. I think that's very important in life, and hockey has taught me how to lose properly, because I've been on teams where the teams weren't that strong at the time, or in a particular phase for a couple of seasons, and where we lost a lot of games. And at first it was very frustrating because you want to win, and believe me, I'm someone who wants to win, and I cannot really stand the fact that I lost something, because if I lose, I'm going to try to seek vengeance. I'm going to try to avenge them. I'm going to try to come back and win it again or something like that. So I'm really going to try till the last minutes, or sort of, or till the very end, so to speak, until it's just no more done. So learning to lose is not just in hockey important, but it's also important in life, because life is going to give you a lot of lemons. Life is going to give you a lot of crap, and you're going to have to deal with all sorts of losses, be it very small, minimal losses, ending with tragic losses, which is going to come, which is going to happen. And I think it's important that you learn that, and sports, and in particular hockey, helps you to increase that tolerance, that kind of loss tolerance, so to speak. And of course, I think one of the last points I would like to mention when talking about mental toughness is also being good in a team, being a team player. Now, you've heard of this, you have to be a good team player and so on and so forth, most likely at work, right? It's a very popular term. A lot of managers like to use it, or recruiters, HR recruiters, like, oh, you got to be a good team player, me. Well, yeah, while this is important, I think in sports, on a serious note, it is actually very important to be a good team player, because first of all, you have to cooperate with the team, because it's not just you who is responsible for winning and losing and scoring goals, because each player has a specific role, a specific function. And it's the same thing in a company. You're not gonna do everything, starting from marketing to sales to procurement to whatever else can be. You have to focus on your specific role, but at the same time you have to cooperate with other functions, with other divisions, right? Same thing in sports. Without a functioning team, you're not going to win games. The only thing is that as a goaltender, based on my experience, goaltenders tend to always be a little bit more for themselves, a little bit more alone, because it's a position, it's a rare, let's say, function, a rare position where you, like, for example, throughout the trainings, you don't really participate in the player trainings, so to speak. Like, you are training with the players, but the only goal you have in your mind is just to stop the puck. But all the drills that the coach would show is for the players. It's for the players who have to go, up and down in circles and pass here and pass there, and then come to me and shoot. So you always feel a little bit left out throughout the season, throughout the trainings, unless you have a specific goalie training, then that's a different story. But most of the trainings are regular team trainings, and yet you still feel a little bit left out. So I think it's highly important to kind of remind yourself to integrate yourself in the team and to try to somehow help your team, be a team player. So yeah, I think that that wraps up for today. Let me know if you guys do any sports or if you've learned something interesting or valuable throughout your career or in your team, or if you do individual sports, how is it for you there? And I'm very curious to hear and see it. And on that note, I hope you have a wonderful day.